Okay, it gives me great pleasure now to bring and welcome Mr. Saroj Kumar Poddar, Chairman of the Adventz Group. And I must share with you, Mr. Poddar, that I've been tracking your good work as a cub reporter when I started my career. I would read fascinating stories about your investment in ISPL, Indian Shaving Product Company, how you really bought a lot of foreign brands into India. Today we are speaking to you in a different avatar, but the child in me wants to know the Saroj Poddar of 1980s and 1990s. Oops, bit of a Harry Potter there. No, don't worry, he'll come back. He'll come back. And I just want to just share this with our viewers. I mean, seldom do we know that India also has had great investors, and there was a time when India was a very closed economy and MNC brands were not coming to India, and there were some individuals who really were able to identify some of these trends. One of them is, of course, Mr. Saroj Kumar Poddar, Radhakishan Damani. They've really bought into these MNC stocks, forged tabs with MNC companies. So, Mr. Poddar, we will talk about fertilizer and the Adventz Group, what's happening there. But just for the child in me and for our viewers who want to know, your whole association with MNCs, ISPL, you bought global brands into India. Let's walk the memory lane back, sir. Let's walk down the memory lane.
No, it's certainly a tremendous drive. We've had a very successful tenure with the MNCs, starting, as you said, with ISPA, moving into Gillette, moving into Duracell, and then many other companies. And today we have another MNC, which is Hetik India, which we run. And I must say that company is also doing exceptionally well and growing very well, and is the leader in the market in whatever products they handle.
So if I have
as far as Gillette is concerned, you see, I would still... Pardon?
Sir, please go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying as far as Gillette is concerned, because of the SEBI regulation that promoters cannot hold more than 25% in a listed company, I was really compelled to divest my holdings to P&G. Otherwise, I would, even today, this would have been my joint venture and something I would have been very proud of. I still am very proud of bringing such high quality brands and products to Indian consumers. And you see, because if you look at Gillette, I think it's been a phenomenal success. Duracell has been again a phenomenal success. But Duracell could not grow the way Gillette grew because of its competition with Eveready. But I must say, it still produced a top quality product, and our factory was world-class factory. They have now expanded it to a much larger capacity, but using it more for exports, because Indian domestic market for alkaline batteries is still somewhat restricted.
So if one has to really introduce the Adventz Group, how should I introduce that? A group which is in the business of investing in companies and then operationally running them, or a group which is an investing group, does not really get too much into operational and day-to-day management?
No, this is not really true. We are very much in operations. The only difference is that we are a very professionally managed group. We don't run our businesses directly, but we have senior professional managers running it, and we interact with the professional managers on a regular and continuous basis.
So you bought MNCs into India. You understand the importance of brand, moat, high return on equity, high return on capital. But one of the biggest investments you have is in the fertilizer sector in India. And the fertilizer sector is a regulated sector. It's a sector which is a tough sector. It is a sector which is dependent on policy, as well as monsoon, as well as global volatility, as well as commodities. What are your thoughts on the Indian fertilizer sector at first?
You see, the only reason why fertilizer sector is today very attractive is that it is a growth sector. India's requirement of fertilizer is still so high that even today India imports a lot of fertilizer. And all types of fertilizer, whether it's urea, which has come down but it's still imported, or DAP or potash, everything is imported in this country, including NPKs. And India, unfortunately, does not have a lot of raw material. We don't have rock phosphate, we don't have gas, we don't have potash. So we are dependent to a large extent on imports. But as a nation and as a group, we are committed to the farmers, and in conjunction with the government, we are doing everything possible to support our Indian farmers.
You are in 4 broad businesses: agriculture, engineering, infrastructure, real estate, and broadly services. 4 to 5 large businesses. Out of these 4-5 large businesses, yes, please, you're saying something.
Yes, and of this I must say the fertilizer and engineering are the 2 largest sectors. Fertilizer we are still growing continuously, engineering we are growing continuously. And in fertilizer, the companies that are in my group are Paradeep Phosphates, Mangalore and Zuari. I am the chairman of Chambal, but that's a conglomerate. There are 3 families involved in that. So I don't run that company, nor is it part of Adventz Group. It's an associate of Adventz Group.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Poddar. This is Shrishti also joining in. It's a pleasure speaking with you. You also have a railway company in your portfolio, and that sector as a whole has seen a lot of transformation over the years, with not just technology upgradation. Even the government and the private players are now taking so many steps to enhance the kind of railway experience we have been having in India. Give us some sense that how do you see this transition in the times ahead? What kind of a technology upgradation can we see, and how crucial the government support will be?
No, government support is obviously, again, both railways and fertilizer are very controlled industries. But in the railways, I can certainly tell you, government is looking at upgrading technology. We are getting higher load factor wagons and new design wagons, and we are working with one of the world's leading company to develop local designs in India for the higher version of wagons, as well as the cast bogies. Once these are there, then obviously India will be equal to what you have in the Western world.
Mr. Poddar, the railway sector is a sector where, if you are a vendor for the railway sector, you are actually again dealing with a situation where there is one buyer and then there are multiple vendors. Do you see that this sector will grow, but competition will always grow? Why? Because there would be intense bidding, there would be this entire tender work which will start. How do you see this entire space moving for private players?
No, let me clarify to you. Yeah, let me clarify to you. It's not correct to say there is only one buyer. There is, government of course is the predominant buyer, but we now have a significant quantity of wagons being purchased by private players, by steel companies, by logistic companies, by mining companies. So all of them are buying wagons. So even today, if you look at 30-35% of the total orders come from private sources. Competition, I agree, is intense and will become even more intense as we go forward. So that is an area every company will have to be on its toes, control costs, upgrade technology, and produce the best product you can. Today, like in foundry, I think we are the only company in India which is AAR approved. And we are therefore the only company which is allowed to export to the US. And we have sizable orders from the US for export of bogies and couplers. So foundry, I consider, is certainly a rising sector and will continue to grow. And there the competition we face, we have the advantage because of our technology and our product base. I hope we can develop the same advantage in wagon building, which I today will say we don't. But we are working on it with newer designs, newer facilities, controlled costs, and therefore produce better products for the Indian market and for the global markets.
Again, go back to the top-down way in which we are discussing your group companies, and I must say that I am just being greedy here and using the power of my anchor chair to extend my conversation with you. It's a rare pleasure for us to get you on the show, so I'll be shameless in extending my appointment with you. Let's talk about the fertilizer business you have. Do you think that your fertilizer business will remain in 3 different entities, or you will likely to consolidate and make it into one? Because right now you have 3 businesses in chemical and fertilizer.
Yes, we have 3, but 2 of them, Mangalore and Paradeep, the merger process is already on. We already have the stock exchange approvals. We've got, the NCLT has given orders to convene a meeting of the shareholders, and that is being done next month. So once that is done, over in the next 3 to 6 months, I do believe Mangalore and Paradeep will merge into one entity. Chambal, as I told you, will always remain an independent entity because there are 3 promoter groups involved in it.
Your current turnover, sir, is at $3 billion. In how many years your group turnover could be double? It could double. And if for your group turnover to double, which are the companies which will really be accelerating your growth?
You see, we are expanding our fertilizer business in a very, very large way. We are almost doubling Paradeep Phosphates and Mangalore. So you can understand a lot of it will come from here. As far as railways are concerned, that's another growth area. But in terms of wagon building, I'm not sure there'll be a lot of growth because the overall capacity in the country, built up capacity, is sufficient to meet the requirements of the nation. But we have foundry will continue to grow, and ancillary products like Kavach, like propulsion, like wheels and axles. These are areas which we are looking at, and these are all areas of large investments and huge possibilities.
If you have to advise our viewers and help them identify some high growth businesses, when you identified Gillette, Duracell in 1980s and 1990s, and then they became big compounding machines, which are those businesses and companies you would like to recommend or suggest, or sectors you would suggest our viewers should focus in on? You may not be interested in them, but where would you like to advise others to invest in them?
You see, I must confess, I am not a very good advisor on investments because that is entirely dependent. I think I always believe that investor is much more knowledgeable than me on the markets. But as far as the companies are concerned, I can certainly tell you both Texmaco and Paradeep will do well, will grow, and they have a very good future ahead of them. As far as Hetic is concerned, it's an unlisted entity that continues to grow very, very well. We have put up 2 new plants, and we are in the course of putting up 1 new plant worth over 1,500 crores in Indore. That also should come into production in the next 18 months to 24 months. So I do believe there is a huge room for growth in all the sectors that I'm talking about. The another sector in the Adventz Group is investing heavily now is in the real estate sector.
Poddar, the kind of investment strategy we have seen for you is that you have gone into very capital intensive businesses and not capital light businesses. In India, there's a bit of a shift that we are seeing in the technology upgradation. A lot of these new age tech companies are building in. Share your thoughts on this transition, and maybe in times ahead, will you be interested in any?
Certainly will. And I must say that the investment that we are now looking at, say in the areas of real estate, this will not be very high capital investment. This will be relatively light on capital investment because our model is not to buy land, it is to use either our existing land or do a joint participation, joint development. So in that extent, these will be capital light. But yes, there are some other products that we are looking at which will be capital light and they are brand building products. We cannot name them today because we have not signed the agreements yet.
Before we wrap, Mr. Poddar, this is March 2025. If I extend the timeline for 5 years, 2030, and hypothetically, if you and me are engaging on the same forum and discussing about the Adventz Group, what do you think we are likely to be discussing? Today we are discussing fertilizer, chemicals, railways, but that's 2025. 2030, what do you think we are likely to be discussing with you?
We will be discussing obviously the new sectors about which, as I told you, we are working on, but I can't disclose it currently because they have not been finalized. But you will see a lot of discussions on real estate growth because real estate is an area where I think we are growing both in India as well as in Dubai. We've built the new Dubai St. Regis residences just next to Dubai Mall, which has been a phenomenal success. In fact, we sold the building, the entire 70% of the apartments on the day of the launch. And as we speak today, it's 100% sold.
Poddar, with this we let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out. It was all our pleasure to speak with you and interact with you today, and we look forward to more in the times ahead.